Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me for a Friday live stream. My name's Christina. We're going to be doing some painting and card making today, and we're just going to have fun. In fact, today's cards are going to look really similar because I shared a similar, well, an exact technique to this. The same thing I'm doing today, I shared last fall. But I recently was looking through my card stash and I ended up using my cards that I had made and I missed them. And I was like, that was such an amazing technique. I loved it so much. So we're revisiting it. We're going to be watercoloring with Distress Reinkers. So, yes, the bottles of Distress ink that you would use to re-ink your Distress ink pads. So the thing that's really nice about using the reinkers is the ink is so concentrated. So you're going to get big pops of color without really having to work for it. Now, if you're going for a much more even distribution of color, you're going to want to water it down more than I'm going to show you today. But if you want extreme pops of color, these are your thing. This is where we're gonna have fun today. Okay, so before we get into the painting, we're gonna prep our watercolor paper with a background stamp. I'm using this new one from Simon Says Stamp. This is one that I designed, and it's called Flower Frenzy. Okay, so I've got this watercolor paper. This is, let me make sure I'm using the right side. This is Fabriano Artistico Extra White watercolor paper, and I've cut it to 6x6, and that's mostly just for ease of positioning the stamp. I want to make sure that this stamp is like right there in the center and I'm utilizing as much of the stamp as possible. So I'm going to transfer that stamp to the door of my MISTI, and then we're going to do a little prep. I'm going to be heat embossing this in gold embossing powder. So I'm going to use an anti-static powder tool. This is the Cottontail from Rabbit Hole Designs, and it applies a beautiful amount of powder. It's a great tool. Highly recommend it. In fact, I just ordered the replacement powder. You can replace this powder that's inside. And I've used mine a ton, and I'm like, I think I'm going to run out of that soon. So I decided it would be best to just go ahead and get the replacement powder. I'm using Versamark ink, and I'm just going to ink this up. This is a brand new stamp. I've never used it. So I'm going to make sure I really coat this with Versamark. Versamark is my favorite ink to use for heat embossing because it just stays sticky for such a long time. So you don't have to rush. You can take your time with it. And I'm going to try out a new stamp press tool. This is from Honeybee. They just sent it to me. It has a little lid, or I don't know what to call this, tray almost. And it's got felt. I'm going to use it today. I thought I'd just try it. I really love my Stampin' Bug glider, but let's try this one too. All right. Lift that up. Make sure that's in the corner again. And I'm going to stamp this twice. I can't really see this clear ink, but I sort of anticipate that because I'm using watercolor paper, it's not going to transfer as well as if it was just like a solid, smooth cardstock. So I'm just going to stamp this twice. And this time I'm just going to use my fingertips and really press it, really get those corners. Sometimes down here in the corner on my MISTI, like it doesn't quite catch all of the stamp. So let's just do that to be safe. All right. I'm going to keep my stamp in my MISTI because I'm going to do 2 cards today. So I'm just going to stamp another one here in a minute, but first I'm going to emboss this one. All right. This is Gilded Embossing Powder from Brutus Monroe. How pretty. I love that. One more little spot. And you can see how, see right here, it didn't even catch that whole spot here. So the card will be cut out of this portion right here. Okay. All right, so here's the first background. You can see that gold sheen. So like I said, I'm going to stamp this again, and it's going to give me a chance to make sure I get the full thing. So here is the second watercolor sheet. I'm going to be painting tonight. Yeah, I got the center area better this time, but this corner not as much. Whatever, it's all good. In fact, I kind of like how it kind of fades. Kind of fun. Now we are painting with Distress Reinker. So we need a slick surface to kind of, or a palette to put down for our painting. You can use a lot of different things. You could even use a dinner plate. You just need something that's slick so that the ink will kind of bead up on it, right? The first color combination we're going to be using, basically I wanted to do cyan, magenta, yellow. So it's kind of like your printer, your inkjet printer that you have at your home computer. You've got like probably, maybe there's a fourth ink that you have to refill that's usually black. But when you print photos, you've got magenta, cyan, yellow. And I think these are pretty close. Salty Ocean might be a little bit more of the correct blue, but I thought Mermaid Lagoon would be really pretty. So that's where the inspiration for these three colors came from today. When you're painting with reinkers, you don't need a ton. I'm just going to put a little droplet like that. This is very similar to when you're painting with liquid watercolors, but I swear it's even more concentrated. I don't know how, but yeah. Okay, so that was picked raspberry. Here's mustard seed. And now I've got Mermaid Lagoon. All right. So when I did this technique before, I think it was an edited video. It was not live. So you guys did not experience my excitement of how great these colors were. All right, I've got a paintbrush off to the side. Today I'm using a size 8 round brush from Zen Art. And I'm just going to start with the picked raspberry. See how like intense that color is? Oh, I forgot. One last thing. We want the colors to move really well, so I'm going to take a distress sprayer. I'm just going to spray the surface of my watercolor piece here. Okay, now we're going to come in, and I'm just going to start adding color. And it's intense. I want these to kind of be far away from each other because I want the pink to really stand out. Okay, now I'm going to come to the mustard seed, and I want it to get some yellow up here. Adding more water to my brush. Maybe I'll do some yellow down through here. And then to Mermaid Lagoon, which is going to be an intense blue. Maybe I'll add some Mermaid Lagoon right here. I want to get some greens through the yellow. See, here's where I'm going to need my paper towel here in a minute. Okay, so this is going to be very rainbowy. Remember I said that those are the 3 colors you use for your printer at home? You can get nearly every color under the sun, especially if you have black involved. All right, so I'm going to tip my board a little bit, and I can help these colors kind of travel. And I can even spray them again if I want to. All right, looks like I'm going to get some mud right in here, so I'm just going to use the corner of my paper towel and kind of sop up some of that ink, which technically now is acting like watercolor. And I'm just going to use the different corners of my paper towel just to pick up some of the larger puddles that look like they might cause a problem later, basically. All right, I'm going to set this aside to dry. And I'm just going to let it air dry as much as possible while we move on to our other color combo. And the colors we're using this time are, let's see here, Blueprint Sketch, Salvage Patina, and Squeeze Lemonade. So now I've got this one about where I want it. I'm going to set it aside to dry. This is the die set we're going to use for our grading today. It's the Thanks Frame die set from Simon Says Stamp. That's also one that I designed for Simon. All right, so what I'm doing for my greetings, there are 2 dies in this die set. There's the main thanks, there's the word and the frame, and then there's the piece that you put on the back. So I'm going to be cutting out the back piece out of vellum. Before I do that, I want to make this vellum a little bit thicker. I don't want it to be so thin. I mean, I love that look, but I want it to be a little bit thinner. So I'm going to do something really fun. You guys have probably seen me do this. It's one of my favorite ways to use vellum. I'm just going to adhere 2 vellum sheets together. And the way you can do that is use any adhesive that's going to put, or any glue that's going to apply adhesive everywhere on the vellum. So I'm using this Creative Station Light. It's a Xyron machine. It basically makes a sticker out of whatever you roll through it. So this entire piece of vellum now has adhesive on the back. So I'm going to take this other piece of vellum and I'm just going to adhere them together. And then I can use that for the die cutting. See how there's like stickiness on the back of this? You can do this with glue too. You can like just spread glue all across your vellum sheet, and then you can adhere them together, give them like a really good press. And because you have adhesive edge to edge, it's not going to show how it's glued together. These will press together even better when I die cut it. I've got the vellum for one, and then I'm going to use some matte gold for the other. Is that going to be long enough? I don't know if it will be. All right, so I'm going to send this through my die cutting machine. I'm going to take one of the frames. All right, I'll just put some little tiny dabs of glue. It doesn't need to be everywhere on this frame, just mostly in the corners, and then just, you know, throughout the area. All right, so I'm going to kind of hold that right there. In fact, you know what? I'm going to take that off for a minute and get this placed on here. This is really high pressure doing this live. And I'm going to pick it up so that I can, well, hello cat galloping through my craft room. Did you guys hear that? I don't know if you could hear that. Now I'm going to put this in and just kind of, with my tweezers, make sure that my frame is straight. Oh my gosh, my cat is freaking out. Making sure the frame is straight. All right. And then I can take, whoa, she's got the zoomies. Then I can take the letters, or the word, I should say. I'm going to add little dabs of glue, mostly making sure I hit all the little tips. And I'm going to place this in really quickly. And then I'm going to grab that negative piece and very carefully remove it. And that's going to help the thanks be in the perfect spot. Very carefully removing this. There we go. Ta-da! There we go. So my cat that just came galloping through my craft room and was going crazy, she's older. She's 15. And she has arthritis, so she doesn't get the zoomies very often anymore because she doesn't feel that great. So when she gets the zoomies, it makes me happy because it means she's feeling good. Beautiful. And that has given our watercolor backgrounds the time to dry. They might not be completely dry yet, but they've got to be pretty close by now, right? So we need to cut these down. I'm going to use my A2 layers from Waffle Flower. Yes, it's just a rectangle. You could definitely cut it out yourself without the assistance of a die. But the thing that's nice about using a die like this is that you can position it wherever you want, and you get kind of an idea of what it's going to look like before you cut it. I'm going to tape this down to my watercolor background. I'm going to do 3 different spots just to make sure that it stays. And I'm mostly taping the outside area of the die because I don't want to run into any chances where my tape might kind of stick to my project a bit too much. And while I run it through, I'm going to use a bit of scratch paper because I kind of have a feeling that some watercolor might not be completely dry. And as it gets smushed in my die cutting machine, it's totally going to transfer to the plate. This is Easy C tape. It's a very low tack tape. It's perfect for die cutting. See, look at this. It transferred so much color. I'm so glad I put a bit of scratch paper in there. All right, so here, I love it. All right. Pops right out. Oh, so pretty. There we go. Then directly onto the card front. Perfect. Press that down. And since it's vellum and we don't want it to be shown, I'm going to run both of these through my Xyron Creative Station Light. And just like it did before, it's going to add adhesive on the entire back of each one of these. Let me see if I can do this like this. Oh, perfect. Okay. All right, so they're going to come out this side. I just have to run my fingers over these. All right, so now these are essentially stickers. Adhesive all on the back. So I can just place it. Let's see, make sure I've got the orientation right. Okay, yes, that's the fold up there. Just press that down really well. I didn't have a chance to really press it down after I adhered it. I'm just using a paper towel just in case there's any areas that aren't completely dry yet. But there we go. So there's the first one. Oh my word, it's so pretty. I love it. Perfect. And I love that. Just having a little bit of that vellum behind the thanks makes it so it's more legible. So here are the 2 cards for tonight's live stream. I love the sheen of the gold embossing powder, as well as the gold cardstock that I use for cutting out the greeting. It's so dramatic. I love the intense color. That's what makes it so dramatic, in my opinion. But it's also kind of dainty, right? A little bit with the gold. Love how that turned out. So thanks so much for tuning in today and for watching my video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to check out all the supplies down below in the video description. And I've got links to everything I've used. And I will see you guys in another video very soon. Thanks for watching.